when it comes to Jaylen's physique, he's in great shape. He absolutely ripped at these practices and shoot arounds. He's in phenomenal shape. Defensively, I love that he keeps talking about defense and setting a tone on that end. What I just worry about is where's he get his in this offense? Where's he get his ball time? Where's he get his shots from? They ran a lot of plays off the ball to get him shots in this game, and some of them got blown up. And then, of course, when he's on the ball, you just really want to see him make those quick, decisive decisions, and he doesn't always do that. So a big topic around this team right now, Jimmy, is sacrificing shots, sacrificing minutes. I just talked to Jason about the starting lineup. He's like, it's going to be tough. We have 6 starters, and someone's going to have to take that back seat every night. So it's on Jaylen as much as anyone some nights to sacrifice, maybe set the screens, shoot fewer times, get off the ball and make a quick decision when he catches it. And he's talked a lot about just sacrificing next to Tatum throughout his career. And it feels like on some nights with Porzingis here especially, he's going to have to really emphasize just getting Porzingis the ball, because it looks like he's going to hit every shot he takes this year, Jimmy. It's blowing me away. The guy's unbelievable.
Wait, say that again?
Porzingis.
Porzingis.
If you're Jaylen,
talking about Brown for a second.
Yeah, well, I'm connecting it to Porzingis because I think one of the biggest benefits of Porzingis being here for Brown is he doesn't always have to shoot. He doesn't always have to scan the floor when he gets the ball. He can just find Porzingis, and it's impossible to miss the 7'3" guy who's a mismatch against everyone.
We kind of started with Porzingis almost off the top, just talking about how ready he looks and how
it's crazy, man,
complete of a player he looks out there. Just his ability to just be able to affect the game from all levels of the court is something that we haven't seen really since KG. And again, not comparing him to KG, but similar vibe we're getting from a purely basketball standpoint.
I'm ready to say it, Jimmy. And it's not even regular season game number 1 yet.
Wait, don't say it. Porzingis MVP?
No. Close.
Okay, what?
If he's healthy this year, I think he's going to be an all-star. No doubt about it.
Yeah,
he hasn't been an all-star since 2018. All-NBA is tricky because it's positionless this year, right? I'd go there if there wasn't positionless now, and it's probably going to be a lot of guards and wings. But if it was that old system with the third center, you might even want to talk about that, because he's just going to shoot open shot after open shot. I mean, first play of the game again tonight, he's draining from the corner. He's draining from mid-range. You watch him in practice, he's hitting everything. He's got a weird shot, too.
All-star Porzingis. If that's the case, Bobby, if that's the case, if they get all-star Porzingis, assume they have all-star Tatum and Brown, they could possibly have an all-star Holiday. This is a team that has to be favorites to.
I'll get to Holiday in a second.
In your eyes, to win a championship.
Oh, yeah. I mean, with what we're seeing in the preseason, there's still some questions, but they're going to be a massive problem for pretty much every team they play against here, especially offensively. Now, they got to stop turning the ball over. Did that way too much in the first half, even with the shot making. But midway through the third, Jimmy, they were shooting 51% from the field, 50% from three, and 90% at the line. It's ridiculous. And Jaylen did say when I was talking to him, there's going to be nights where we're shooting like crazy, but when we're not, we got to find other ways to win. And that's, I still think, going to be the case for this team this year. But Tatum's banging in the post. Drew's really good at that. You got a mid-range element with Porzingis and Brown. So I think you are going to find some offensive balance this year beyond the threes.
Ever wish you could navigate the betting field with the confidence of a pro? Enter Odds Are. They're not a sports book, but they're the sports betting advisor you always needed. It's like having a playbook for smarter bets right in your pocket. I've been absolutely loving the experience, and I think you will too, especially since Celtics All Access listeners get a 30-day free trial. Elevate your game day and join the smart betting revolution. Go get it at oddsr.com/Celtics. That's oddsr.com/Celtics.
Well, that's just it. Because me and Josue were talking about earlier, they got too reliant on the three last year.
Oh yeah,
they got to get back to basics, which is what you've been preaching for a couple years. Getting back to playing hard, tough-nosed defense and letting your defense transition into offense. And they're going to be a running gun team. We've seen it in the preseason. They're going full court press practically out there. So I mean, they're definitely going to be a team that's going to be in your face. They're going to run it as much as they can. Holiday's going to get them moving. White's going to get them moving. They're not going to be, I pray to God, I get down on my knees tonight before I go to bed. I will pray to God that they don't do this stupid half court, walk the ball up. You know, it's 10 seconds left in the shot clock before they start doing anything with it.
So things did get awry.
Things
did go awry a little bit midway through this game, late in the second, and Joe said it went till midway through the third, the offense falling apart. And it took a long time for someone to step up and stop the bleeding there. Again, you have so many ball handlers here, Jimmy. You have a lot of guys who can make plays. But even with Holiday here, and I do want to get to Holiday before we wrap the show.
We will.
It's too early, right? I don't want to overreact. He just got here 2 weeks ago. He's figuring things out. He's off the bench the first game. Now he's starting.
Are you on a Holiday now?
I just want to, and a little of this just watching the tape and looking back at his Milwaukee days. I just want to pump the brakes a little bit on the notion that he's going to come in here and solve all their offensive issues and be that every play point guard. Jaylen said it, and I think Jason came close to saying it. It's going to be a lot like Smart. There's going to be flashes of brilliance. There's going to be big playmaking games where he has 7-8 assists. But you see the turnovers tonight, some sloppy stuff from him. And you did see that in his Bucks film. Sometimes he does get stuck in between decisions, throws the ball away in the pick and roll. I think can make some tough reads. And you even saw it right before halftime. He ripped off his headband and just stormed into the locker room, looked really frustrated. And I know, he's talked a lot about how shocking the trade was and how big of an adjustment it's been so far. He can't even find a house, apparently. He just hasn't found a place to live yet.
Well, with mortgage rates the way they are, I mean, gotta be
so
careful.
It's going to be a transition for him. And you know what, Jimmy? I've done a lot of reporting on it. I've been grilling Joe on it. It's going to be a starting by committee. But if you had to ask me today, who will come off the bench a week from tomorrow on opening night, I think it's going to be Drew.
Wow. Okay. For how long?
He'll play a ton. He'll be the sixth man. He'll have a
how long will he
major
come
role.
off the bench for?
I don't know. It could vary game to game. It could take a couple weeks while he still continues to get acclimated here, or they could find out that's the best use for him.
Over under, how many games does he start for the Celtics this year? I put it at, if the over under is 60. How about this, 50?
It's a good question. I'll go under just because I do think he'll come off the bench for this team. It's a really tough choice, Jimmy. I don't want to undermine White. I think you want Drew out there for as much as possible, and he'll certainly close. I asked him the other day, how important starting is to him. He says he didn't care. He just, closing is what's important. But White, I don't think you're at the point where you should bench White, even if he's perfectly fine going to the bench. I think you continue to emphasize him, and he's looked so good this preseason again. Horford, I was pleasantly surprised by how well he played off the bench in this game. So that's certainly an option that I'm willing to weigh more than I was before. But while Drew's figuring it out, and while you have this group of 5 guys who just have this awesome chemistry right now, Porzingis has been here for longer. He's really acclimated to the guys who are already here. I think you at least start the year with Drew off the bench. And again, that doesn't mean he's going to play 20 minutes or 15 minutes. He's going to play 30 plus. And Horford's still going to reel back his minutes this year. Just means he's going to play with the second unit, going to play with the ball in his hands more. And yes, Jimmy, he'll close the game.
The CLNS Media Network is powered by FanDuel. Sign up at FanDuel.com/Boston and get in on the action with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose.
So the reason why, and you might be completely right, and if he comes off the bench, I think enough people have been saying it now where there's obviously some reason to believe it's a possibility. I still find it hard to believe because if Drew Holiday is arguably the best defensive player in the NBA and certainly regarded as the best defensive guard in the NBA, why do you want to let the opponent get comfortable or get into some sort of groove to start the game? If you have a guy that is literally, regardless of whether or not, say he's not super comfortable with the offense yet, he's not a liability on the offensive end, and he's the best guard, man defender in the NBA. You can just stick him on any given night, the opposing team's best scorer, and make it a pretty miserable night for that player. I mean, opponents will tell you when they see a team, they look ahead the schedule, they'll see a team with a player that's a great defender, and they'll just shake their head and be like, damn it, like that's not going to be fun for me that night, And so
you want him to set the tone.
I want him to set the tone. And again, I also think that, let's say he isn't familiar. Well, stick him with the best players on the team and get familiar. If he's coming off the bench, you already have an unsteady bench to begin with. So wouldn't you rather have a guy like Derek White who can anchor that second unit, mix in immediately with the starters because he has a lot of familiarity there, and that transition's a lot smoother? Again, I mean, if they're all going to play 35 minutes a game anyways, then maybe it doesn't matter that much. But for me, I almost want to punch the opposing team in the mouth right off the bat with a guy like Holiday.
Yeah, I get it. And I think there'll be some nights where that can happen. I don't know how you feel about starting by committee, but that's what Joe's talked about throughout camp, is that it could change any given night. Maybe you face a smaller
I do think it might change. Yeah, sure. Yeah, maybe Horford starts some night for all we know. White or whatever.
Honestly, it's social media posts again. We don't watch practice, but a lot of the highlights of their scrimmages have been Porzingis and Horford playing together against Cornet in the second unit. Mm-hmm. So, if that's something else you can read into right now.
Did you find it interesting that Horford came off the bench tonight, the last game that they're going to really be playing together before the regular season?
No, I mean, I heard earlier that they were going to do that. I think it's just because they want to get this look after bringing Drew off the bench in that first game. And Joe said throughout camp, not to read into these lineups too much. So
HelloFresh makes it really, really, really easy to make sure that you're maintaining and eating real food as opposed to just reaching into the cupboard and grabbing whatever you can on the go. And it's terrific. And again, if you don't have the time to shop and to do all of the prep work, HelloFresh is the way to go. Go to HelloFresh.com/CLNS50. That's HelloFresh.com/CLNS50. Use the code CLNS50, 50% off plus free shipping. It's a really good deal. Once again, America's #1 meal kit.